98 minutes. That's how long Spain went without scoring in the 2026 World Cup final. No goals, barely a shot on target. Messi's Argentina refusing to break, and 70,000 people in New Jersey holding their breath the entire time. If you told any of those Spanish players beforehand they'd sit scoreless that long, on the biggest stage of their lives, you'd expect panic. A meltdown. Somebody hoofing a desperate ball into row Z, out of pure nerves. Instead, they just kept passing, kept their shape, kept doing exactly what they trained for years to do, until a substitute named Ferran Torres finally broke Argentina open in extra time, and Spain lifted their second World Cup. So what actually let them stay that composed, for that long, in front of that many people? That's the real question today, and it has almost nothing to do with football. Most of us assume champions simply feel less fear. Like somehow, standing across from Messi, with a global audience watching, their stomach doesn't drop the way ours does, before a job interview, or a first date. So when we choke, freeze mid-meeting, blow the shot, go blank in front of a room, we quietly file it away as proof. I'm just not built for pressure like they are. But sit with this for a second. If Spain's players felt nothing, why did it take them 98 tense minutes to find the net? They weren't calm because they were fearless. Something else was running underneath the surface. There's a trap almost everyone falls into without noticing, and it's this: we chase the scoreboard, instead of the thing that actually fills it. Sounds backwards, right? Winning is the goal, but outcomes are unreliable. You can dominate every stat, create chance after chance, and still watch the ball clang off the post. You can nail the interview and lose the job to someone who simply knew the right person. Tie your entire sense of worth to something that unpredictable, and every stall stops feeling like bad luck. It starts feeling like a verdict on who you are. That's usually the exact spot where people unravel. It's the spot Spain didn't. This next part is research, not a hot take. Psychologist Carol Dweck's work on mindset found that people who define success through effort and process recover from setbacks faster than people who define it purely by the result. Ask a Spain player what was going through their head at minute 70, still scoreless, and it almost certainly wasn't, "We need a goal." It was closer to, "Hold the shape, keep the ball, trust the plan." The scoreline was never the obsession. The system was. There's a second piece to this, and it might matter even more: how they handled the pressure itself. Performance research shows elite competitors don't actually feel calmer than anyone else, same racing pulse, same tight chest, as you'd get. What's different is they've trained themselves to relabel that sensation. "My hands are shaking" stops meaning "I'm about to fail," and starts meaning "I'm locked in." And here's the part that should actually unsettle you a little: that exact physical response, the pulse spike, the tight chest, happens before your job interview too. Same nervous system. Completely different story you choose to tell yourself about it. Let's ground this in specifics. Start with Spain's run through the entire tournament, not just the final. They went unbeaten from game 1, built around control, trusting a possession-heavy identity coach Luis de la Fuente had committed the team to for years. When that identity got stress-tested for 98 scoreless minutes on the biggest stage in the sport, they didn't scrap the plan out of panic. They trusted it, and it eventually cracked Argentina wide open. That's not luck, showing up late. That's an identity, holding under maximum weight. Now flip to the other bench, Lionel Messi. Likely his last World Cup, at 39, ending in a loss on what was practically home turf for the tournament. But zoom out on the full arc of his career: a gutting final loss in 2014, redemption in 2022, and he's still lacing up to chase one more trophy, at an age when most players have been retired for a decade. Whatever you make of how this particular final ended for him, that's 2 decades of treating loss as fuel instead of a verdict. That kind of longevity doesn't happen by accident. One more, closer to home. Think about the most dependable person at your job. Ask them their secret, and they almost never say, "I'm just talented." They'll mention their prep, their checklist, the one small routine they run before anything important. Average performers chase the win. Reliable ones protect the process, and let the win show up as a side effect. 3 completely different arenas. Same move, underneath all of them. Nobody here was calm because nothing scared them. They were calm because they'd already decided what they were actually chasing. So how do you actually build this into your own life? 3 moves. No trophy cabinet required. First, swap outcome goals for process goals. Not, "I need to win this pitch," but "I will make my 3 strongest points clearly, no matter what happens after." One of those is inside your control. The other one never was. Second, build a tiny ritual before anything that scares you. A specific song, a 2-minute walk, a phrase you mutter under your breath before you walk in. It doesn't need deep meaning. It needs repetition, so your nervous system learns to read it as, we've survived this before, we're fine. Third, and I'll flag this one clearly as my opinion, not a settled fact, relabel the fear before it gets to define you. Next time your stomach drops before something big, try saying, I'm ready, instead of, I'm nervous. It sounds almost too small to matter. I genuinely think it's one of the most underused tools in performance psychology, mostly because it costs nothing, and feels a little silly to try out loud. Try it anyway. Worst case, nothing happens. There's one thing worth carrying out of this video. World champions aren't calmer underneath than you are. Spain's players were scared and controlled at the exact same time, for 98 straight minutes, in front of the entire planet. They just stopped asking, are we going to win this, and kept asking, are we doing the thing we actually trained to do? That same question is sitting in front of you this week too, in whatever's currently making your palms sweat. So, genuinely, what's one process goal you could set today, instead of white-knuckling an outcome you can't control? Drop it below. I read these. And if this shifted how you think about pressure, stick around and subscribe.